Why, Lord, why?
Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to the extra video on Job chapter 40. So why is this video being posted? Well, I posed the question in the previous video, did Job condemn Elohim? I've had to since change the video title of that last video because I didn't even answer that question, and I've changed the thumbnail as well. So let's answer this question together. So if we go to Job chapter 40, in the Masoretic text, it reads as follows in verse 8, "Wilt thou also disannul my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me that thou mayest be righteous?" This is a scathing accusation by Elohim. So before we proceed any further, I think it's important to define the word condemn from a scriptural perspective. So the term condemn in the Bible carries significant theological and moral implications, often associated with judgment, guilt, and the pronouncement of a sentence. It is used in various contexts, ranging from divine judgment to human interactions. So in the Tanakh, the Hebrew word often translated as condemn is rasha, which means to declare someone guilty or wicked. Condemnation is frequently linked with God's justice and righteousness. For instance, Deuteronomy 25, the law instructs judges to justify the righteous and condemn the wicked, highlighting the role of condemnation in maintaining justice. The Psalms and Proverbs reflect the theme of condemnation. It is written, "Evil will slay the wicked, and the haters of the righteous will be condemned." So this verse underscores the belief that those who oppose Elohim's ways will ultimately face condemnation. So let's remember this definition, declaring someone guilty or wicked. So did Job declare Elohim guilty or wicked? And do we have proof texts to support that claim? In the Brit Hadashah, the Greek word for condemn is katakrino. Commonly used for condemn, the concept of condemnation is central to the teachings of Yeshua and the apostles. So what does it mean? It seems to be contrasted with salvation, emphasizing that belief in Mashiach is the means to avoid condemnation. Okay, so I think that's pretty simple to understand. Let's look at Webster's quickly. To pronounce to be wrong. So yeah, it's a little more, has less to do with morality. It's more to do with right and wrong. Here, declaring guilt, that's closer to the biblical scriptural definition. Judicial sentence, pronounced unfit for service, to doom to be taken for public use. To fine, to judge. But yeah, I think judging is, it has to do with judgment for sure. So Job is judging Elohim as wicked. He's judging Elohim as wicked. He's judging Elohim to be, as it says at the top here, to be guilty. So let's look at some proof texts to prove whether this be so or not. So before I proceed any further, I also need to qualify, why is this important? Why is this important? why does this matter whether Job condemns Elohim or not? What's the point? So personally, I believe it's important because this claim that Job condemned Elohim is one of the most critical and serious claims in the book of Job. Whether this be true or not, a lot hinges on this question. If indeed Job did condemn Elohim, then he is no longer righteous. But if he did not condemn Elohim and something else happened, then we have to be open-minded to the possibility of, an alternative possibility. So for our first scripture, we're going to look, actually second scripture technically. Job chapter 9, verse 22, one of the strongest proofs in the Masoretic text to prove the Masoretic claim that, yes, Job did indeed condemn Elohim. And this is one of the strongest proofs. And it reads as follows: "This is one thing," this is Job speaking, "this is one thing, therefore I said it, he," referring to Elohim, "destroyeth the perfect," meaning the upright, the righteous, "and the wicked." Remind you of another scripture? Well, it reminds me of the scripture in Genesis where Abraham confronts Elohim, challenges him, or at least respectfully questions him, and asks him, "Do you destroy the wicked and the good together?" It should not be. Because he knows the character of Elohim. He knows the heart of Elohim. And it turns out he doesn't do that. That's why they had a negotiation. And it went from a larger number all the way down to 10. And yet there could not be found 10 righteous. Because he wanted to be true to what Abraham said, which is the heart of Elohim. He does not destroy the righteous with the wicked. He is a righteous judge. So as you know, this channel, it favors the Septuagint, not for no reason, because it's evidence-based. It's historically supported that the Septuagint is the oldest complete translation. Yes, there are older texts, such as the Dead Sea Scrolls, yet they're mostly incomplete. So when we look at the Septuagint, and that same verse where Job is condemning Elohim, how does it read in the Septuagint? Well, it reads as follows. Job 48, I should say 40, looks like an 8 to me. Job 40, verse 8. "Do not set aside my judgment," Elohim speaking to Job, "and dost thou think that I have dealt with thee in any other way than that thou mightest appear to be righteous?" So this can be interpreted one of two different ways. And now in the video that I previously posted, I interpreted it as follows: that Elohim was preserving the righteousness, the appearance of righteousness of Job. But it can also be alternatively interpreted as, have I dealt with you in any other way that you might be righteous, that you would appear to be righteous? And reading between the lines, Elohim would be saying, no, my focus, my priority is not to make you look righteous. It's actually my own righteousness. I have to maintain my own righteousness. I have to preserve my righteousness. He is good. He is righteous. And yet, he has to actively be righteous. He can't waver in word, in deed, and intent. Because he is good. He is holy. He is righteous. Okay, let's look at a proof scripture. Or the proof scripture that was used in the Masoretic, and see how that is interpreted, how that is expressed, rather. Before we go to that scripture, I want to just simply state that what we read in the Masoretic has been debunked. There's no inkling of a condemnation here. Job is not condemning Elohim. There is no such disrespect, or you could even say blasphemy, at the most extreme end of the spectrum being said or done. So let's look at the other scripture we have. So the very same scripture that was used as a proof text that Elohim was judged to be wicked by Job is no longer the same. It's no longer a proof text. This is Job speaking. Wherefore I said, wrath slays the great and mighty man. It's not, well, you know what? It could be Elohim. It could be his wrath, or it could be wrath in general. But even if it is Elohim that it's talking about, if it's his wrath, then Elohim slays the great and the mighty, meaning kings and the strong. Has nothing to do with destroying the wicked and the good together. So that has been debunked. Let me put a stamp there. Let's answer that question of whether Job condemned Elohim. The answer is debunked. Thank you for watching. Until next time, Shalom Aleichem. Assalamu Alaikum. Irini Mazisu. Pax Vobiscum. Peace be unto you, and Maranatha.